Oh, I'm so sorry, enemy force. You were really not designed to fight us. Oh my goodness. It's a massacre, ladies and gentlemen. An absolute massacre. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Spiffing Brit, and today you join me once again in the fantastical world of Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. Now, the developers have just released a brand new balancing update. That's right, we're on version 1.5 now, ladies and gentlemen. And alongside that update, they added a whole bunch of new skill trees for the archery classes. Oh, and that's just what I've been waiting for, so that I can exploit the game and create the ultimate meme army, because today we're going to try and beat Bannerlord using only ranged units. That's right, it's going to be archers only from this point on. But of course we won't just be exploiting the ranged units of the game, we'll also be choosing things so that we have infinite experience, infinite money. Oh, and also there may or may not be a teleportation glitch thrown in here for good fun. Just about everything in this game can be exploited, and so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So sit back and relax, ladies and gentlemen, because we're about to unleash a whole bunch of chaos on the world of Calradia. Let's start a brand new campaign. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to starting a new adventure and building an archer-only army, you're going to want to pick a faction which is relevant, and for us, we're going to pick the Vlandians. The reason why is simple. They're going to give us more XP after each battle. This is important because starting out the game, we're not going to be able to recruit archers. No, we're going to have to recruit regular bog-standard peasants, and then level them up to being archers via having them simply observe us fighting a whole army of looters in a battle, and only then can we get an army comprised of only archers. Now that we've chosen our culture, it's time for us to design our character, and my goodness, this muscly lovely beefcake here, as much as I would love to play as him, I've got some other things planned. Firstly, we're going to metagame this and make our character small so that they can dodge missiles. Now, if you couldn't already tell who we're making, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be none other than the legendary Robin Hood. That's right, not to be confused with his cousin Robin Hood, who steals from the rich to give to the poor. This is Robin Hood, who steals from the poor to give to himself, who is the rich, so I guess it's all fine. Now, Robin Hood is naturally, as you can imagine, going to be a very, very powerful archer, and so we're going to make him into one of the most powerful and terrifying military leaders and wealthiest men Calradia has ever seen. All we need to do now is design his backstory. Now, logically, you'd want us to send him down an entire backstory of being an archer and going on hunting missions, but no, ladies and gentlemen, you don't want any of that. Instead, blacksmith. Every single point you can put into blacksmithing, you need to put into blacksmithing. And if you can't do that, you're putting points into endurance. Those are the only two categories. He doesn't need to start out with any skills with bows. No, it is entirely points into smithing that he needs, trust me. So we're going to make it so that Robin Hood here rode with the scouts. He also invested a whole bunch of his own money into a workshop, and then when it came to our backstory of us trying to escape from the bandits that stole our families, we didn't drive them off with arrows. No, instead we rode off on a fast horse because this gives us extra endurance. I'm sorry, family, you'll have to find your own way out. And now we need to enter our name. We shall be the legendary Robin Hood. Now, of course, we're going to be playing on the regular difficulty because it's going to add in a fun bit of challenge and also completely destroy the balance in the game. And all we need to do is decide our character's backstory and then we're good to go. Oh, bugger, and the game's crashed. God damn it, Bannerlord. Oh, early access game, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, and after a quick restart, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and we've been thrown immediately into customizing our clan's banner. Now, of course, we are of the Hood clan, and we need something to represent our Bowie goodness. And considering how probably self-obsessed Robin Hood is, we're going to simply get a painting of him riding on horseback, yeeting an arrow into someone. We're going to go for this very funky looking banner. Isn't that just absolutely visually nauseating? That's exactly what I'd expect from you. So because of how we've set up our character, we've started out with immediately an ability to invest points into riding and smithing. This is perfect because we don't actually need to start out with points in bows because we're going to learn it very soon. Also, make sure to spend any spare focus points you have lying around immediately into smithing because we're going to need it. Anyway, when it comes to smithing, you're going to want to pick up efficient charcoal maker. It's one of the most important things to learn. And then in the riding category, we're going to increase our maneuver by 10%. There we go. Lovely stuff, and we can immediately begin with the game. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, make sure you're sat back, relaxed, with a nice warm cup of tea in hand because you're going to need it, and most importantly, if you're feeling especially fantastic, you can even give this video a like. Thank you very much. Now, straight away, we're going to try and recruit up some men because we're going to need some assistance if we're ever going to get into a fight, or rather, we're going to need some people to learn from us. Now, we start out the game with 1,000 gold, and honestly, I'm afraid that's not enough to really survive, and so we're going to need to find find a way of making money. Luckily, this game has a multitude of ways of making money, and so we're going to grab this one Imperial recruit, and I'm going to be taking this one guy on an adventure of how to make stupidly large amounts of money in Mount and Blade Bannerlord. Now, luckily, because we've just started out the game and we have basically nothing, we have an incredibly fast speed when it comes to crossing the actual map. A speed of 6.5 basically means that none of the AI is going to be able to catch up to us. Now, the thing is, we're being chased by a band of looters. They number as 5, and honestly, I think it might be a good idea to try and fight them. The reason is simple. Whilst I technically have an army comprised of 2 Imperial recruits that I can't use because they are melee infantry, I have myself, and I have a bow, and consequently, if I can kill 5 of these looters, then I can use the experience and level up my peasants into a natural fighting force. And so Hobbin Rude's adventures must now begin. Immediately I'm going to have my men run away to the other side of the battlefield. In fact, as just as far away as I can get them. And now I'm going to try and take out all of these looters solo. Oh lovely, they have to cross a bridge. There we go, that's one looter down. Now what we have to really do is watch out for the rocks that these guys are going to be throwing, but honestly they're not too bad. There we go, there's another looter down, and another, and another. There's just one last looter. Let's quickly find him. We've got 10 shots left, so I'm pretty sure we can close this out. Where are you? Oh, you're trying to get to my lovely infantry. Infantry, run away! Run, infantry, run! Don't let him catch you. Don't throw a rock at my peasants. I need them to learn how to be archers. Stop it. Behave you. Ow, you silly sausage. Stop throwing rocks at me. There we go. Battle complete. 5 looters dead, and hopefully my men have learned a bit about how to fight. And we get some prisoners as well. Lovely stuff. Oh, and some equipment. This is even more valuable. I'd say, all in all, a very good first combat. Now, immediately upon spawning in, you're going to want to make your way over to the greatest location to make money in the entire world, and that is all the way up here. It's the city of Onera. I mean, there's probably better places, but this is definitely the closest to spawn. The reason why this location is so good is simple. It has access to a resource which not many other cities do, and it's a resource that you can make a lot of money with. It is, of course, hard wood, which is basically wood, but harder. And we can use that hard wood and make stupid amounts of money. What's that? 5 more looters? Perfect. Let's do the fight. Chase them down. Come on, Hobbin Rude. Chase down the looters. So once again, a whole bunch of looters are now charging up onto my lovely men. Once again, they have to cross a bridge, but that's okay. If anything, that makes it a little bit easier for me. Oh yes, this is nice and easy. Lovely stuff. All the looters are now dead, and our bow skills actually increased to 25. Perfect. We even gained an additional prisoner. Lovely. Right, now I've travelled all the way over to the city of Onera here for one very important reason. It has very cheap hardwood for sale, but most importantly, it also has a decent supply of weapons. And the weapon we've been looking out for is this one right here, a Pugio. It is worth 261 gold, and it is actually one of the most valuable weapons in the game technically, although the game doesn't know how to calculate it. You see, when it comes to weapons, the way a game calculates how much a weapon is valued is by how much damage it does. A Pugio here is a throwing knife. Consequently, it's not very valuable because it only does 28 cut damage, and the way a game values how much damage a weapon does, it takes the first type of damage it does. In this case, swing damage rather than thrust damage, meaning a Pugio is a garbage weapon which should only be worth basically nothing. The only issue is the Pugio isn't actually just worth that much, because a Pugio is actually made using some of the most high value resources in the game. It contains fine steel, iron and wrought iron. Now what we're going to do is smelt some charcoal very cheaply using 2 of our hardwood, and then we're going to smelt down this Pugio which cost us 250 gold. Immediately we've discovered some new ways of making weapons, but most importantly, we've turned the Pugio into some much more valuable resources. Now the other thing we're going to do is smelt down the weapons we stole off of the bandits and take a look at some of the weapons we can make. Now the weapon I really want to make is a javelin, but sadly we have no way of making a javelin until we actually unlock one of the shafts of a javelin, which will take a decent amount of resources. Until then, we need to find a way to actually make money via making weapons. Now, as I mentioned, the best way to make money off of a weapon is to make sure that it has a very high base attack damage. This is where the game gets a little bit broken, because it basically means that no matter how fancy a dagger is, you can crank everything to the maximum. Because the weapon's damage is based off of this number here, the thrust pierce damage, it's only ever going to be worth as much as another cheaper weapon, which does 35 thrust pierce damage. This means that, sure, crafting this dagger would be lovely, and we can use up some fancy steel doing it. There we go. We can use up a whole bunch of steel making this, including 2 fine steel. Oh, look at this lovely dagger. The only downside is this dagger, which would take 157 skill smithing to actually make, is garbage in comparison to a piece of trash. The piece of trash I'm talking about, of course, would be this 2-handed axe, or technically it's just a hoe, because this does 62 base damage, making it twice as valuable as that crappy dagger, but this time it only uses cheap crappy crude iron. But in order to get crude iron, we're going to need to melt down some weapons. I recommend buying throwing daggers because once again, these are very cheap to buy and have good resources inside of them. They're cheap to buy because they don't do much damage, although technically they're good weapons, and just look at that, they're filled with iron. Now we're going to melt down some iron pitchforks into some crude iron, because it's going to be what we're making our two-handed axe out of, and for the time being we're going to have to sleep because we don't have infinite endurance. Now that we've rested for a bit, it's time for us to forge our first weapon. We could make this awesome two-handed sword, which does 41 thrust pierce damage. However, this sword is actually garbage. In combat, two-handed swords are incredible because they have high swing cut damage, but when it comes to smithing, they're not actually that good because the weapon is sold off of its thrust pierce damage rather than swing cut damage. If you were to change the head of the sword to something which only is able to be swung, like say this long falx blade here, then suddenly the swing cut damage can go up to 130 and there is no thrust pierce damage, meaning this is one of the most valuable weapons in the entire game, despite technically not actually being too difficult to craft. But anyway, in order to train ourselves up, we're going to start making some lovely hoes. So this will have a swing cut damage of 65, and the way you level up your smithing skill is not actually doing a whole bunch of smithing or complicated smithing, it's simply making a valuable weapon. And I'm going to also make a one-handed axe just because I think it will gain a little bit more experience, even if it's not too fancy. There's a bit of money to be made here. There we go, 2 skill points in smithing, that wasn't too bad. But the main reason we're doing this is just so that we can unlock more parts. The more parts we unlock, the better. And we can even sell this axe for a little bit of gold. It's not too much, but it's enough to keep us healthy. Now in order to make more money, I'm actually going to take this mission of Army of Poachers because it will give us a little bit of gold. Now the thing is, you will eventually hit a snowball in smithing where you just make infinite money with every single item you smith, but until you hit the point where you can craft the specifically mega broken weapons, it's basically RNG of waiting until you unlock the best parts. Now I need more weapons to break down, and for that I need to kill looters, although there is a metric ton of looters running around. It's a slightly too large a stack than for me to actually be able to solo them. And what I'm trying to unlock is actually points into leadership so that I can pick up the Raise the Meek bonus so that all of my crappy troops gain experience, meaning that I can auto level them up to archers without ever even having to take them into combat. Right, now I need access to some more crappy weapons, and so for that I'm going to travel all the way down to Danustica, although actually there's some looters here. 6 looters, I can take that. If I'm able to take out this party of 6 looters, then that's some additional weapons for me to melt down. Oh beans, mountain bandits. No. Mountain bandits, we're not ready to fight you. Here, let me pay you to let me go away. 167 gold down the drain, but I'm afraid it's necessary because fighting mountain bandits with only myself is not a very smart thing to do. I risk losing all of my men, and that's something that we can't have happen. And lovely, inside of this city there are 2 Pugios for sale. Now as we know, Pugios melt down into some of the best resources this game has to offer. At the same time, you can kind of see just how broken the economy of this game is because you have narrow swords here, which are technically very decent weapons to have, but they're being outvalued by these bearded axes because they do more base damage. 83 cut damage in comparison to 70 cut damage is a very big evaluation. This is 58 cut, so it's only 1,941. This here is 83, meaning it is 7,000 gold. Trust me, there's a balance in there somewhere. So it's time for us to smelt down our Pugios into some lovely high level resources, and now it's time to try and make an actual very valuable weapon. Now the interesting thing about what I'm about to make is it's going to actually be really cheap. This is a two-handed polearm, which is effectively a sickle on the end of a stick. But this sickle on a stick has 59 pierce damage, which is a lot more than the short simple pike head. It's even more than the short simple spearhead, and it's even more than the Takamanashi steel leaf shaped spearhead, which uses some of the most expensive resources in the game and only has 37 thrust damage. Well, we're no longer doing thrust damage, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing swing pierce damage. So we shall be able to craft what is effectively a farming utensil, yet it will be valued at quite a high level. Oh, we've leveled up our spiffing and even gained a level ourselves. Perfect. Also, I'm going to be investing my level 25 of bow stuff into dead aim, so that all bow troops in my army gain increased archery skill. This is very important. Alright, I'm now going to create a lovely one-handed axe with 58 swing cut damage. That's leveled up our little smithing a little bit more, but most importantly unlocked a few more items for us. What I'm really trying to unlock is the hammerhead of this wooden mallet. The reason why is because this is one of the cheapest items in the game to make, and yet it has some of the highest blunt damage this game can process, meaning this weapon here is stupidly valuable for what it is. is. The issue is I haven't unlocked it just yet. Alright, I'm going to craft a two-handed sword now, which will hopefully sell for a little bit of money. There we go, we gained 3 skill points in smithing. We're almost at level 50, which is where you want to be, because being at level 50 means you'll discover more and more smithing templates. Anyway, let's sell this two-handed sword and this crafted mace. We're making a little bit of money, but it's not as much as I'd like to have in the bank. Oh no, my goodness, we've gotten very lucky. We've just unlocked the first setting in the two-handed sword, which actually massively increases the thrust pierce damage of the weapon. So there we go, we can now reach 47 thrust pierce damage, which might not sound like much, but trust me, this is actually kind of huge. Alright, let's craft up this bad boy. There we go, 3 more skill points into smithing. We're now level 49. We're getting pretty close here. I can sell that sword for $1,000 as well, so we've now made a tidy profit. We're up to 3,000, and we'll just wait here for some time, and then we'll have to buy up some more weapons to melt down for resources. Oh, there we go, we finally become level 51. Perfect, that's exactly what we want to have. So we can now sell this weapon for a nice 963, and most importantly, we've now unlocked Curious Smelters, so we increased the rate at which we learn new designs by 100%. Now the snowball of smithing can commence. Alright, time to forge yet another two-handed sword. There we go. That will unlock a nice few additional bits of crafting components for us, and we also get to sell this bad boy for some money. There we go. Now what I've done to cheese the system is I've just smelted this bent razorhead, and as you'll notice, there's a whole bunch of things just being unlocked on my screen. The reason why is because, as I mentioned, weapons are calculated based on how much damage they do, and this bent razorhead does a stupid amount of damage. Look at that, 136 swing cut damage. Swing cut damage is completely and utterly broken. Consequently, we've just unlocked 1,000,000 parts and created ourselves a weapon which, let's see how much it sells for. Oh, it's worth 87,000 gold. Our character is basically just level nothing, but he's just from crafting that one weapon gone up to level 123 in smithing. He is now effectively a god of smithing. Oh my goodness. Alright, we're going to make it so that he can learn new designs even faster, and he also has a chance to create a fine weapon. But yeah, we're just going to be bombarded by all the things that we've just unlocked on our screen for like the next millennia. Because we've gone up a couple of levels, we can now invest additional focus points into our bow skills. We can upgrade our endurance an additional point. And now when we enter into the smithy, there'll be a few more things unlocked. All from this one lovely, stupidly broken razorhead. Oh, it is just fantastic. And we're going to need more steel if we're going to want to make another weapon like that. And of course, best way to make steel, ladies and gentlemen, is to melt down your fancy throwing knives, because they are full of steel. Although actually, we should probably do the ultimate trade deal. So for this trade deal, we're going to buy up all of the horses in the local town, because, you know, we need the horses to carry goods, and also so that we can just teleport across the map really quickly. So we'll buy all of that. We'll also buy these expensive weapons here. We're then going to go down to the fancy throwing knives, and we're going to buy as many throwing knives as we humanly can. We're then also going to buy a whole bunch of grain, meat, butter. We can buy a whole bunch of additional beer, some fish, some cheese. We're basically buying as much as we can because it's going to make our men very happy. And then we're going to simply sell them our lovely, incredible javelin, and we're going to get 27,000 gold. They don't even have enough money to complete the trade deal, but it doesn't matter. There we go, we're now up to 30k. All in all, I'd say that was a brilliant trade deal. Alright, now because we have all of these horses, we can now cross the map at a speed of 6.2, which basically means we can effectively fly. We're going to head on over to the next nearest city to buy up all of their fine steel so that we can craft ourselves another one of those fancy blades. Alright, and now that we're at this local town, we're going to once again buy their lovely Pugo, along with the Ziphos and, you know, the simple bastard sword as well. Now let's enter the smithy and smelt down that Pugo. Now that it's been smelted down, we can go into the lovely two-handed polearm section, find our lovely insane weapon with a bent razor head, or we can even upgrade the shaft a bit. There we go, that'll increase damage even further. Swing cut damage of 154. Don't mind if I do. Right, now this is looking very jazzy. Let us create this mega blade and forge. Perfect. 227 weapon reach, which adds basically as a multiplier to the thrust pierce damage and the swing cut damage, and we've created ourselves 15 additional points into smithing and a whole bunch of lovely bonuses. Oh, we've unlocked the mallet head. There we go. Oh, perfect. Now the mallet head, it's not the same as the hammerhead, but it'll do. It's a good start. Now the reason why it'll do is because mallets are a brilliant way of making stupid amounts of money. First, we're going to have to buy out this entire town supply of hardwood, as well as also a few more horses to carry just all of our resources. Now, two-handed maces are brilliant. They have fantastic reach and decent blunt damage, so we're going to be crafting them, and they're going to be generating us a nice few little bits of resources. It's not going to be as good as if we had the actual hammerhead, because this is an insane weapon which you can make a stupid amount of money off of, but still, a basic mallet is still a decent amount of money. Now there's a mission in this local town which is to simply escort a caravan, which of course I'm going to do because we'll get paid, but most importantly this is going to hopefully increase our influence. And it also means we get to stop by many different little cities, and these cities will hopefully have access to some of the resources that I'm looking for. And I'm going to make myself yet another two-handed polearm whilst I'm down in the south on this trade mission, and there we go, an extra 26 points into smithing. A whole bunch of new items have been discovered. Can I make a javelin yet? I can make a javelin! Yes, the money making has arrived! Oh my goodness, right. Javelins are the way to make immense quantities of wealth and guaranteed profits. Now that two-handed polearm that we crafted has technically broken the game and become the most valuable weapon that this game has ever seen. This weapon is valued at 106,996 gold, which is the most gold any one item is able to be valued at in this game. Now, what kind of weapon is it? Well, it's pretty basic. It does 140 cut damage, 45 pierce damage, and has a length of 186. Statistically, it's not actually as good as this, but yet it is. Because the way the game runs its calculations, this is the much better weapon and so is infinitely valuable. Now I'm going to be equipping this two-handed polearm so that I can annihilate people whilst I'm on a horse, and I'm going to be selling my super duper fancy stick whilst also buying up this town's entire supply of horses, because horses make me go faster. And there we go, we did our mission. We escorted the merchant caravan and got 2,400 gold. Honestly, I don't particularly think it was worth it, but it matters little because we can now generate infinite money. So here at the lovely city of Lyakis here, we're going to effectively start printing wealth, as it's time for us to make javelins, ladies and gentlemen. Now javelins are very cheap. They don't cost many resources. For example, this head here, it's only going to cost us 1 iron, and it's going to do 77 pierce damage. Make that now 84 once we've increased the size of the pine shaft, and now we have ourselves a pretty formidable weapon. It's only going to cost us 1 iron, 1 hardwood, and 1 charcoal. Basically nothing, but because it does so much pierce damage, this weapon is actually incredible. There we go, we've just gained 2 points into smithing, gained a whole bunch of lovely bonuses. But what really makes the javelin so spicy is the fact that they sell for so much money. This javelin, which cost us 3 crappy resources, sells for 12,000 gold. So we're gonna sell it. And now we've found the source of our infinite money, because we can now convert 3 simple items into being very expensive items, which are worth a lot of money. Oh, there we go, 18 points into smithing just by crafting this one weapon, and you know what, we can craft it a second time, and we're bam, 14 points into smithing. Our smithing is now up to 198. This is insane. Oh, these 2 polearms that I've created are just insane. Just the amount of money they're worth is absolutely stupid. Alright, now I think it's time for us to return back to the Imperial lands, because the upgrade tree for Imperial peasants is very simplistic, and it's very easy to turn them into archers. So as fun as my adventures into the steppes have been, and as nice and profitable as they've been, I think I'm quite excited to get back to a land where you understand the true value of a peasant, and that value being, well, just about nothing really. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I've just spoken to Hobbin, and he's told me that he has a lovely one-off special for all of you. For the first 8,000 people who like the video, guess what? Hobbin is going to go into their house and rob them blind. He's going to steal all of your possessions, and then he'll melt them down and turn them into javelins worth more than the entire GDP of France. That's right, you can lose all of your personal possessions for just one simple like on a video. What a great deal it is. Remember, a failure to do this will result in Hobbin just taking all of your belongings by force anyway. Back to the video. Now before I go on my rampage of building an army of archers, I'm going to build one last two-handed polearm. This is one heck of a monster, and it's going to really do a huge amount of damage, but as you can see, it really doesn't take that many resources to make this bad boy, and yet it's the most valuable weapon in the game. Just look at that bad boy, it's beautiful. I can make a second one, why not? Perfect stuff. I technically have 2 ways of generating experience for my men. One way is to quite simply sit in a town, but in this instance I'm going to be escorting a caravan just trying to fall into a trap by these mountain bandits, and then I'm going to move in and rescue them. Now after that one engagement, all of our regular infantry can now be upgraded into archers, which is just absolutely incredible. Right, now I'm mostly just going to be training up my armies on a whole bunch of looters around here. It's going to take a long while, but the levels will be good. I mean, our army composition at the moment is now 14 archers and then 6 random peasant infantry, and that's built up quite a formidable force, because these 14 archers will be able to take out these 9 looters no problem. I won't even need to necessarily get involved. Just look at the legendary Hobbin Rude. He's got his lovely little hood now, which makes him especially jazzy and extra formidable at fighting. Anyway, archers, loose all your shots. Take out the lovely looters. Ah, look at them go. I even gained points in tactics from doing this. I mean, they're not the most accurate, but honestly, it doesn't really make much of a difference. And if a couple of peasants get hit in the process, then a couple of peasants get hit. Now, what we will do is we'll always make sure to run our infantry around so as to bait the shots out. And there we go. Glorious success. None of our men died. And we dropped the entire enemy force. Ah, now what's this? Villagers fighting looters. Now, this is a perfect opportunity. Kind of for all the wrong reasons, though. Now, the reason why you should always join in battles of villagers getting attacked is very simple. It's so that you can train kind of infinite skills. I mean, this works generally on a much larger army of actually heavily armored men, but we can demonstrate it here as well. Now, after all of the looters have died and we've gained some lovely bonuses, we still have 43 arrows lying around. Now, we can use these 43 arrows to increase our bow skills even though the battle is done, because there's a ton of horses just sat here, and the further away we are, and provided we can do damage, we can gain experience. So there we go, 36 damage delivered. There's a horse even further away. Headshot, there we go, good stuff, 75 damage. But the person we really want to aim for is that one random peasant, because that one random peasant isn't going to go anywhere. There we go, we hit the peasant in the head, and there we go, we gained a skill point in bow from just shooting our one friend. Oh, and he's tragically died. But it doesn't matter because we gained experience. Look at that, we gained a point in riding. Oh, yes. So if you basically go into a battle with a very large allied force, what you want to do is bring a whole bunch of arrows, wait for the battle to end, and then murder your friendly forces so as to gain stupid quantities of levels. Anyway, that was a glorious fight, and we've saved the villagers. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in a short moment's time after I get my clan rank up to level 2, which we just need 50 renown for, so we're almost halfway there. Oh no, this is it, ladies and gentlemen, the battle where I'm going to be able to train up all of my lovely archery skills, because a whole bunch of tribesmen here have decided to join me in a fight against just 18 looters. Oh, it's perfect. It's exactly what we want to see, because these poor looters aren't going to be able to win. So I'll just quickly run around, swing my sword a bit, you know, just the basic stuff, casual several hundred damage every swing, and there we go, the battle is won. But now that the battle is won, I have 47 arrows here, which can be used to generate glorious experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nice distance from the actual large group of men here. Most importantly, I'm going to be standing behind them so as to do more damage. And now what I'm going to do is train up my archery skills by simply lining up a whole bunch of shots and firing into that massive crowd of people. There we go, bow's now up another skill, and as I hit a random recruit over there. Ah, yes, this is a lovely sweet spot. We can just keep on plinking our bow over here and generate a nice large amount of experience. Lovely stuff. I mean, our riding skill and our bow skill are just increasing at a terrifying rate. Doesn't actually even matter that I accidentally just murdered someone from the allied side, because it doesn't affect any relations. This is simply just accidental friendly fire. Oh my goodness, and there we go. After that battle, my skill with the bow has gone up to level 45. Lovely stuff. What a glorious good fight that was. So welcome back to now my favorite demonstration of how to effectively gain immortality in this game. So very simply, we're fighting 26 mountain bandits. These are some pretty decent units. If we were to have an actual fair fight, they'd probably actually do some damage to my men. But the most important thing is we're not going to give them a fair fight. And that's part of the fun of it all. You see, for some reason in this game, at any moment in combat, we're given an option. And that option is to press the retreat button down here. So how to gain immortality is actually very simple. All we're going to do is wait for our archers to unleash their first volley. Here it comes now. Good luck, archers. Plink some good damage into the enemy there. There we go. We've killed a couple of them. And now that the enemy's starting to get close, all we're going to do is press the retreat button before the enemy has time to actually throw, say, a javelin back. So we retreat our party after murdering about 5 of the enemy men. And you'll notice there we go. They're down to 22 mountain bandits. We've got 21. And we can just go back in and attack again. Absolutely nothing has changed. If anything, we're actually on an even better starting position. And now the enemies have to once again charge us. You see, especially when fighting against an enemy that cannot fight back, we are effectively immortal, given the fact that we can continuously reload every single engagement by pressing the retreat button. So in comes the waves of the hillmen, very spooky men, but now that they start getting nice and close, there we go, they're prepping a javelin. Oh, we could have pressed the retreat button, although they are actually starting to run away of their own accord. Yes, I don't think a retreat is necessary. Good stuff. Now you might be wondering why I chose now to do another Mountain Blade Warband video. Well, it's partly because they sent me this lovely little gift box with some lovely Mount and Blade goodies, including maps and pins and all that. It's just absolutely lovely. The only issue is I've accidentally exploited them, so I received 2 of these gift boxes when I was only actually meant to receive 1. So yes, because I was given 2 lovely goodie boxes, I thought it would make some sense for me to actually, as an apology, break the developer's game for them. Now, as part of my idea to generate more renown and more profitabilities, I've started my campaign of robbing from the poor and giving to myself, and as part of that campaign I've raided a massive quantity of villages owned by the Southern Empire, and consequently that means I've technically gone to war with them, meaning not only can I take their castles, but I can also attack their random caravans. So I've attacked this caravan here, guarded by 37 men, which is immense, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to absolutely cheese the balance of this game, which should take this fair fight, which we would probably lose, and make it into a guaranteed win situation. You see, what I'm going to have my men do is I'm going to have them stand in a loose formation. Now I need to get the enemy to attack, because as soon as I activate them, we'll be able to win. So in order to get them to attack, I just need to land a shot on the enemy over there. Oh, and there we go. Now that I've murdered one of their men, the enemy army is now going to begin its attack run, and because it's beginning an attack run, we're going to be able to begin Operation Cheesy Cheese. So with all of my archers lined up, they're going to start unleashing volley after volley upon the enemy cavalry. All I need to do is simply stay alive. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just need to live and have a couple of these cavalrymen taken out. Oh goodness. Oh. Now this is very spooky. Now it's time for us to hit the retreat button. Now, the reason why is because the enemy cavalry has made it into our lines, which is dangerous and risky. There's a chance we could lose an archer there, so we need to restart this attack pattern and probably position my men into a better location. But luckily, by restarting the attack, we're going to be in a completely different bit of geography. My goodness, just look at this. Alright, I've got my lovely wall of archers lined up now. All I need to do is get the enemy to come over here and test it. And so in order to do that, I just need to activate their cavalry. Now, technically, I can have as many goes at this battle as I like. I mean, the enemy isn't ever going to attack me because they're too scared, and even if they did, I could just immediately restart. But this technically would allow me to solo every single one of these soldiers by killing them from range like this. And there we go, I've killed one of the caravan masters, and that's going to cause the enemy cavalry and all of their soldiers to kick into life, now chasing me, which is exactly what we wanted, because that now means the chase can begin. And as part of the archer-only strategy, we are now going to bait all of these cavalry troops straight into the lines of our archers. Good luck, archers, you know what to do. Now, so far, we haven't lost a single archer, but that could change at any moment, and so now's going to be a good time to actually kickstart our formation as the enemy infantry is starting to pull in. So I'm going to hit the retreat button now that we've massacred probably about half of the enemy cavalry, and that's going to allow us to set up for our third attack on this group, but this time our archers are going to be in a much more comfortable position because all our archers get their health reset, and we once again get to position them on a lovely hill. Right, time for me to go attack the remaining 10 cavalry. Oh wait, the remaining 10 cavalry is coming to us. Lovely. This time the AI wants to play aggressive. Now the good thing about all of our archers is that a lot of them are very high level, meaning we have no issue with dealing with the occasional horse attack. Oh wow, there we go. They're just all dealt with. And now the archers start coming in, and well, that's going to be even easier to deal with. Oh, and there we go. The entire enemy force is now dealt with. We've won the battle with only 1 casualty, maybe 2, I don't know. And they were our own player characters, so that's hardly an issue. Yes, 2 of our companions were sadly wounded, but otherwise that's a glorious success for us and a huge amount of renown. And all we had to do was play completely dirty in order to win that battle. Yes, it was completely and utterly fair, right from the moment when we decided that the enemy were no longer allowed to actually reach our lines. Oh, what a glorious fight. Oh my, and what's this? A local enemy lord is coming to fight. Oh, this is perfect. Now this local lord has 31 men and probably does not want to fight us. The only downside is my army is faster than his, and so we will catch up to him on the open plains and immediately try and attack him, because this local lord is going to be giving us a whole bunch of experience if we manage to take him down. Oh, and look, some prisoners are ready to be recruited. Perfect, look at that. We now have 46 out of 46 men, comprised of entirely ranged units. Oh, this is just beautiful. Sorry, enemy lord, I would not like to be you right now, but I need your renown, for I need to get my clan tier up higher. Ah, hello, Debana. What is this? Yes, do I know you? Brackets default should not appear. It's okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's an early access game. Hello, I am Hobbin. There we go. So you've made quite the name for yourself. Yes, you know we're at war, surrender or die. You've no wish to fight me. I do not care. Yield or fight. Lovely stuff. Let us now attack a truly upgraded force of an actual military army led by a count who probably holds a local castle or village. Well, we're going to be decimating this army. Right, now we're going to just mostly move all of of my men back a little bit so that we can position our archers up on this lovely hill. All that's going to matter is that I deal with these incoming horses before they cause a little too much chaos for my liking. Though it shouldn't be too difficult because, as I say, my archers are very good at holding their own. And there we go. The enemy leader has just been dropped in battle, meaning the enemy forces will charge wildly into our lines, which is exactly how we like it because that means they have now lost. Just look at all of these shots rain down. We're going to be taking no casualties again, aren't we? Oh, I'm so sorry, enemy force. You were really not designed to fight us. Oh my goodness. It's a massacre, ladies and gentlemen. An absolute massacre. The power of the ranged only army knows no limits. Just look at it. It's like a verified machine gun unleashing on the enemy. Right, they've only got some crossbow boys left, and I'm pretty sure I can deal with these crossbow boys very easily. Sorry, crossbow man. Oh, that was nice and easy. So we get 3.3 renown for that. Come on, that was attacking a proper army. Only 3.3 renown? I'm gonna have to attack more peasants, aren't I? Oh, what a perfect fight that was. Very fair and very balanced. Man, what's this? A random lord has just exited this castle with only 8 troops. Oh, well, this is something. I can jump in onto this. And there's another lord there with 70 men, so I'll be fighting 78 troops. Logically, a fight I have no chance in winning. However, I will not be fighting fair, will I? You think your 78 men will be able to stand against my highly trained force of 44 archers? I wish you a swift death, my friends, because it is not going to be pretty. Right, now logically we're going to immediately run everyone as far back as we can because there's a nice hill over here and the enemy doesn't really have any cavalry, so we don't have to worry about that. Right, there we go. Yes, I can see the enemy formation over there. They have 1 cavalry unit, which I can only presume to be their lord, and then a whole bunch of infantry. Oh, that infantry is going to get decimated. As soon as it moves in range of our archers, we can technically retreat whenever we like, but even if it's a war of attrition, I have infinite reserves. Oh, and we can shoot really far across the battlefield. So the enemy is doing an interesting strategy of running its 17 ranged units out into the front, where it can be shot at first. A bold strategy to be sure, one which I'm sure will pay off. And here come all of the shots now. Look at them go. All of these lovely fancy infantry of yours, I'm sorry, they're not going to stand up against this many shots. Oh, and here's the enemy lord. Right, let's deal with them. Oh, but what's this? The enemy infantry are getting close to our positions. Well, it's a good thing I can just press that tactical reset button. So let's press that now. Seeing as we lost our 2 baiting companions at the front to the enemy infantry, let's hit the restart. Now we're facing off against 29 men with our 42, and this is going to be a lovely easy battle. I mean, I don't understand why this was even allowed in the game. There's nothing about this is fair. Right, let's reset our archers to a lovely position, and once again the enemy is now moving in for its attack. We can cause additional chaos by simply running into the back of these infantry, and that's going to cause them to turn around and face us, and in doing so they now present their back to our archers and all immediately get dropped. Oh, what's this? The enemy are fleeing. I've won the battle. Oh, enemy, what have you done? You coward. You choose to run from battle? Wow, you just teleport out of the battle. Well, that was a glorious success. Oh, a whole bunch of renown for that one, of course, and another glorious battle complete. Oh, and this is it, ladies and gentlemen. The ultimate renown farm. A troop of 98 soldiers has now attacked us. The odds are not in our favor here. This is Orbos, and we will fight him to the last drop of our blood. This is going to be the fight I've been looking for. He's a bit upset because we've been raiding his little village, but using the power of cheese, we're going to be decimating his army by not allowing any of his men to even get close to us. Now, luckily, he only brought 5 horses with him, which means he's not going to be too difficult to try and counter. Right, and away our shots go, and immediately I need to throw myself in front of the enemy so as to get a little bit of a distraction off. Not that I need to do much. All I need to do is basically have my presence known, and that's going to allow my archers to get in a lot more than they really should. Now, the infantry is about to reach my lovely archers, and so I'm going to hit the retreat button before I lose any of my men. And so far it's been a good first fight. We've managed to drop the enemy numbers considerably, and in return I think we've only lost 1 soldier so far. Yes, just 1 casualty. So let's go in for our next attack. Now, for some reason the poor enemy thinks that their archers are better than mine, which has gone very poorly for them, and so their main archer force is now routing. In fact, most of their army appears to be routing now, whilst getting shot in the back by a whole bunch of my archers. I think so far we've had 2 casualties, and I'm not really sure what the AI is now trying to do. Are they all entirely trying to retreat? No, there's no way. But just look at all of the arrows on the field of battle now. This is just terrifying. Where on earth is the enemy going? Are they just running off the map now? They've had enough. Yep, they're going for the retreat. Okay, I guess that makes sense. And there we go. We defeated the entire enemy army. We've won the battle. GG. 22 of them routed, so that's 13 renown for us. All in all, I'd say an absolutely excellent fight. I mean, that's what you get for attacking a force much smaller than your size, but a force that knows very cheesy exploits. And what's that? You've handed me one of the highest level cavalry archers in the game, just for free. Oh, well, don't mind if I borrow that off of you. What a lovely fight that was. Very fair, very balanced. Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. I've finally managed to get my elite group of archers up onto the walls of this settlement. It only took about 100 arrows to the knee, but Horin Rude has managed it. We've managed to capture this settlement using only a whole bunch of archers sat in a lovely position so as to give us as much of an advantage as possible. And of course, we glitched out the AI a metric ton. That really did help us. I mean, I feel kind of sorry for the AI in parts because they don't seem to really know how to function. Oh no, I say that as I just get cut down. Oh well, my remaining archers will surely be enough to actually win over this siege. I think it's just the occasional crossbowman standing around now. Oh, there we go, we won. Oh, we won the battle. How much renown is that? 35 renown for that victory. 12 men sadly died in this siege, but that's a sacrifice I am more than willing to take. We took out a garrison over many battles of about 150 using only ranged units. This is really something, my goodness. Oh, right, now we control the castle. It is ours. We've done it. Oh my goodness, what a glorious fight. All right, we're going to wait at this castle for a very long time just so that our army can slowly rebuild itself. It's going to be a while before the enemy actually decides to come along and try and siege us, but until then, we'll be very comfortable. Well, here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me sit down in my lovely chair. But my goodness, just look at this smug sausage right here. Horin Rude is quite simply one of the greatest archers this world has ever seen, but most importantly, he's led so many powerful armies that he is invincible, mostly because he continuously retreats as soon as the enemy gets close. But from this point on, we can defend the castle forever, because whenever the enemy chooses to attack, all you have to do is simply have your archers up on the walls. As soon as the enemy gets close enough to mount any ladders, just simply press the retreat button and then they have to start all over again. But it's even worse for an attacking AI army because they're often slow, get stuck on terrain, and can easily be glitched out. Anyway, I hope that I've been able to show off today just how overpowered an army comprised of only ranged units can be. So this game's balance has been thrown a little bit askew for this latest update, but that's all okay. Anyway, I've absolutely loved playing Bannerlord today, and if you've enjoyed watching me, then feel free to give the video a like and hop down to the comment section to tell me what your favourite aspect of Bannerlord is. Also, I've been pondering what video to do next. I've got a few fantastic ideas. You want to A, see the return of 100 Statman, B, discover yet another fantastical Minecraft exploit, or C, a lovely Fallout 4 exploit bestowed upon us from the lovely Todd Howard himself. Anyway, it's all up to you, so hop down to the comment section and vote. Anyway, as always, a massive thank you to each and every one of my majestic sausages who make up our lovely group of Patreons. Seriously, thank you very much for sticking around and helping us out, and most importantly, thank you all for accepting my latest change to the Patreon, which is to basically convert it into a corgi dumping ground, where I can post all of the lovely pictures of my brand new corgi Georgie, who is absolutely adorable. I mean, just look at her. She's got such a cute little face. So yes, that's what I've been doing with the Patreon, sorry. But hey, if you're new here, then do consider subscribing, and also if you wonder what video you'd like to watch next, look no further than these ones on screen now, hand chosen by myself to hopefully be absolutely perfect for you. I think all of these videos are lovely, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy them as well. So I'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have an absolutely lovely day, and goodbye for now.